How you guys doing? This is Andrew at FloryPB. This video is not going to be your standard video. This is actually my buddy's Angel. It's his LED SE. It's in very good condition. And I put this together for him maybe a year or two ago. I forget how long. But put it together to him. He was using it for a while. It was shooting great. And last time I went out and used it, he was claiming that he was having velocity inconsistencies with the marker. This is the last LEDs ever made. These SE ones. These were made basically when the LCD was coming out. I think it was just a way to get rid of old stock. They changed the milling up a little bit. They cut the trigger and installed the factory double trigger setup. So it's actually put on very nicely in comparison to the hack jobs that you see where they just hacked it and put the spare trigger guard on it unceremoniously. And yeah, it's a cool marker. This one's awesome. But we put a new battery in a couple years ago, and yeah, it's just worked for him for a while, and it just apparently stopped working for him well. So we're going to go in. There's not too much we're going to do. We are going to clean out the mini reg. We will check our LPR pressure, clean our LPR, because why not? We're going to charge it, maybe up the dwell a little bit, and see how it goes. Shoot it a couple times. If it starts shooting with consistency again, we're all good. First, we will charge it, but as you remember, LEDs are different, so new product we are developing based off some old components. Turn it on. The battery's not old, so I'm not surprised it holds a charge. We'll let it charge as we go. Let's pop the grips open. Damn it. Everything's on board on this side on the LED. I've never built one of these on camera for you guys before, but it's very similar to an LCD. So my rate of fire is a pot, and my dwell is also a pot. We will because we're not going for ultimate efficiency or consistency here. Just going to take our dwell and crank it up a tiny bit. We'll let that be. It's a rechargeable battery, so I don't exactly care if I get a little bit, 20, 30 less shots on a charge or however long it's going to go between charges. And we're not playing this thing to be efficient, so it can use a little more air per shot, and it's going to be fine. Just always been impressed how clean this marker was. This is the oldest style, or the second oldest style, I should say. We have this long metric thread, which is not like the ones previously, or the ones after it. But inside is still the same old crappy mini reg. And that doesn't want to come out, but doesn't really have to. I mean, looks okay. The old seals are here. So let's clean this up. Definitely suspect. I don't remember doing this, but definitely suspect. Let me grab a couple O-rings. I really want to take everything apart. Maybe I screwed him and didn't do his mini reg. Guess I didn't. So let's open her up, change the O-rings out, give it the cleanup that it wants. Oh yeah. That seal still looks good, which is the main reason for creep. Yeah, that's a good seal. Maybe that should get changed too. We're going to change all the seals, lube it up fresh, and that's probably the main culprit. We'll do the LPR as well, now that I don't know what actually happened with this marker. Maybe it's the one I didn't work on, but we'll figure it out. We have to dwell a little bit. We're making sure it's fully charged. We'll go through the 2 regulators. We'll pressure check it to make sure what the LPR pressure's at, and it should be good to go. Real simple. A couple specialty tools you need. We'll go through this real quick. And I'm back. Just grab the O-rings. Put all our good specialty O-rings on here. This piston never needs polishing or anything. It's just really crappy design, but it is stock. It looks good. And we're not really trying to shoot this thing too hard, so. Let the grease come off of there. That ungreased. Whoever maintained this last did do a nice job on it. It might have been me. I don't remember at this point. It's weird I didn't have the different O-rings in there though. But got paint all in there. He's incredibly hard on markers somehow. It's almost funny. This particular guy that has this one. It's incredibly hard on markers. He actually made a micro switch break on a DM10 once, just playing with it. It was amazing. But guy's always been able to make markers disintegrate. So put the ball back in there. Okay, so now the carriage. And this is definitely the root of the problem here. So I have a few different kind of O-rings we're going to use. For this ring, because it's just a sealing ring, we're going to use an 006 50 durometer. That fits on there real nice. It's real soft, so it helps seal up a little better. For the top ring, we're going to use an 003 70 durometer. Actually, I'm doing some experimentation with different durometers up here, but nothing's conclusive yet, so I'm not going to put anything sketchy in there. Just replace it with a stock one. So it fits in there real nice. Just press down, make sure it's all in place. You don't want this to be off or anything like that, because that's going to skew your velocity. Lube up this. Drop down the hole. So we're going to use quad rings because they're a little bit better for moving or dynamic motion. Breaks friction a little bit easier. I kind of do this on every dynamic O-ring that I can. So we're using an 006 for the base one and an 012 for the top. We're going to grease it up, then we'll oil it up after that. So it's always a weird stack in these older Angels. There's 3 that go against upwards or cupped to the right. Then 1 cups to the left. Then 2 more cupped to the right. It's a really strange stack. But it is what it is. Oil that up. Put that back down the hole there. Grab our snap ring, our little jeweler's pliers. That's in place there. Get a little lube on the O-ring down here. Again, this is a different setup than your standard 1/2-inch MPT threading. Get some of the oil off the outside here. I got a feeling that's going to make this good to go. But because we're already here, let's pull the LPR out. Just the piston. And that could be nicer. It's the oldest style LPR. It's a lot fatter than the one that came in the LCD. So it's the heaviest and probably the worst performing LPR, but it's still better than the majority of LPRs in paintball. I'm going to polish this up real quick. Really just the shaft. We're going to change this O-ring out. And we'll get that back in the marker. Then we'll test it. Hold on a second. Okay, we just polished up the shaft of the LPR. It's just so easy to do. And it gives you such benefits for doing it. But you do got to get all the polishing compound off of it. It's a beautiful thing to do just because this is a sliding part that slides against an O-ring. So if you can polish it and knock that friction coefficient down, it just makes it work that much better. But you got to make sure you get all the polishing compound off of it. That's what the alcohol is for. Go to a new part of the rag and make sure it's not bleeding any black residue on it anymore. So that's solid. This using an 015. And again, we're using a quad ring up here. I would love to do one on the internal seal as well, but that's such a pain in the ass to get to. And again, this thing was working good, so I don't see this as a problem yet. If it is, I'll tear it down fully and we'll do a full rebuild for them. So let's go the standard way you're used to. I think we're going to pull the ram out and fully rebuild the ram as well. Just to get rid of all of the issues. We'll polish it up and do all that good stuff. There is a shim in there, which looks grody. Let's... it's okay. There's only one. Put it back in and we'll see. Typically 80, 90 PSI is where we want to be with these. This one sinks way in there. Right. Can we put our gauge on? take off the other volumizer, the complete dummy one. Well, that would help if I had my charger plugged in. Hold on a second, guys. That was me just being stupid. LCDs are supposed to be off, or LEDs are supposed to be off when you're charging them. And your charger has to be plugged in for it to work. So I was just sitting there draining the battery. Got a dollar saying that's going to leak. Make sure you have a higher pressure tank. This isn't super high pressure, but 700 psi. And the OPR is at 100 and creeping. So maybe we should rebuild the rest of it. So it's a little higher than I'd want it to be, actually. So let's pull that shim out. Let's see if we can drop it a little bit. Ideally, I'd like to get this to 90. 95 is cool too. Let's sit for a little bit. Okay. So it creeps a little bit. The original Angel LPR, like I said, isn't. The LCD truly had the better one. Get that one solid shot. That could be partially battery and partially RAM related. But the LPR is in a range I don't mind it being. You really can't get it any lower. It creeps around a little bit, but that is to be expected with the oldest generation ones. It's staying pretty well in its range, so. Oh, I always hate this. Alright, so we'll pull the bolt. This feels like it's been underwater or something. So let's pull the ram out of it. Wrong again. That kind of night. You have to be careful with the wiring in an LED. It is more fragile. But the RAM removes exactly like the LCD. It's the same RAM, so. Come on. With a helping hand here. She is tight in there. There we go. So the snap ring can definitely be adjusted a little bit nicer. Let's see if it's still in there. Well, that explains some stuff as well. Looks okay. Just wasn't tight enough. Which is one thing. I'm going to heat this RAM up, break it open, break everything loose, and we'll just redo every seal in the RAM. Just to make sure this thing's acting the way it's supposed to be. We'll set the snap ring correctly. Gonna go off camera, just heat the seal, just heat this up a little bit so I can crack it open because it's Loctited together. And I'll be right back after this thing's disassembled. Alright guys, broke the RAM apart. Everything was pretty good in there. We polished up the shaft because it was open, so why not? Let's get all of the polishing residue off of it. It's in alright shape. A couple nicks on it and stuff. A little bit of tool marks. Surprised how poor quality this thing actually was made, considering these old Angels are normally rock solid and just built beautifully. But it's original with the marker. She's going to run perfectly well. There's no reason to change it. I'm going to make sure we get all of the polishing compound off. Let the alcohol flash off on it. We have our pieces. We'll replace the snap ring O-ring. It's an 006 size. What we're going to use is we're going to use an 75 durometer Viton O-ring instead. I don't like the poly O-rings. They turn into jelly, and it's not for me. So it's no real reason to lube this, but can't hurt anything. Gives a little better of a seal. Jesus. What the hell are you doing? Pop that on there for right now. So the front O-ring, this isn't even an O-ring. This is a U-cup seal in the front of these old Angel Rams. And it's rock solid. These things, if they need to get replaced, I'd be stunned. It's a great way to solve a sealing problem in one direction. And that's the way it runs in this. So it always solves it in one direction. So put the back O-ring on. We're using an 009, another quad ring. Help make the ram run smoother. Now always the trick with the quad ring is to make sure it didn't roll over on itself. That's a smooth ram even before it gets lubed, which is impressive. Lube the shaft, lube the head. Give it a streak of oil too. Beautiful. I need 2 sets of pliers for this. Again, these are my favorite pliers. The parallel jawed, smooth bore or smooth faced pliers. They don't do any damage really. Any more than damage was already there. Just tighten it. There's no chance it comes untightened. Hear that snap? That's where I like it. I forgot to put the bumper on. Of course. That's what I get for trying to go quick. Got to put the ram bumper on. Or the hammer bumper, I should call it. Again, not a part that actually needs Loctite. I know they did it, but it's a little overkill. Let's put some more lube in this ram. Oh yeah. She's sealing nice. It won't be a problem going forward. If it was ever the problem at all. Definitely the snap ring was a little out of adjustment. This ring's a little bit jelly-like, so. All right. Got to replace the 3 O-rings on the outside. These are 015s. Because I'm changing them, I'm going to change them to 50 durometer O-rings. Just because those seal easier. And these are not dynamic, so they're not going to wear out. Just going to be nice and soft and stay in place and seal up for a very long time. Bring that in a bunch. Move some of these out of the way. I'm going to pull the charger off too for the time being. So I'm going to set this till it snaps correctly. No snap. Want to go in a little more. Heard the initial click, but we want to click decently. Too much. Hear that snap? That means it's pushing the hammer or the bolt forward slightly to try to take up that gap, which is exactly what you want it to do. So that's in there. That looks good. All right. And that should be all it wrote. See if we can get this thing. Sounds good. Keep it charged. I'm going to charge it overnight until it stops accepting a charge. That is tight. That's crazy. All right. So, let's get our tank back out. Says we got air. Maybe we adjusted the dwell the wrong way. Play with the dwell a little bit, because everything else seems okay. That does it. Perfect. Alright, it's dark out right now. We'll do a shooting video with this tomorrow. I'll get it done tonight. We'll do a shooting video next. And I'm pretty sure this one's wrapped up and ready to go. So I'm going to say, please comment, like, subscribe, dislike, whatever you want. Now I will cut out to the outside of us shooting it. And see you in a little bit. Alright guys, we're outside with it. Gave a couple test shots. 322, 283, 284, 292, 279, 307, 309, 300, 296, 300, 296, 300. It's a little... See that? See how low it's going there? I don't know if it really is. It might just be the night, because... Yeah, I really don't think these are low shots. I think this thing's lying because it can't see it too well. 303, 307. They feel like they're moving. So you can't even see that. 290, 315, 290. So it's definitely shooting hard. We're just going to take some shots. Oh, they're all hitting perfectly. Not bad. You can do that to a gun from 1999. Alright guys, that's it for tonight. See you later.